My secret wasn't a burden until I shared it. Then it became a battleground. I traded years of silence for one moment of truth. The cost was everything. The secret I buried bled quietly inside me. Now it bleeds out loud. I finally told my family. Now I'm learning to live with the silence they gave. Speaking the secret was like breaking spell, but the aftermath still haunts. I told my truth in whispers and heard my family's love turn to ash. The secret I hid was a shadow that darkened every corner of my heart. I traded silence for truth. Now the silence feels colder than ever. My family's rejection was the cost of breaking free. But freedom tastes bitter. I told my secret and watched the world I knew crumble in slow motion. Truth is a flame that burns bridges, sometimes to build new paths. The secret was a silent scream trapped inside me. Now it echoes everywhere. I whispered my pain into the void and felt their silence swallow me whole. My secret was a lie I told myself. Telling it set me painfully free. I finally told my family. Now I'm learning to live with the ghosts left behind. The truth I revealed was a wound and a gift, both bleeding and healing me. 80. If this touched your soul, don't scroll, like, comment your favorite quote, and subscribe for more. I told them the secret and found strength in their silence, not their judgment. Revealing the secret was a prayer for peace, answered with a storm instead. I carried shame alone. Now I carry the weight of their broken trust. The secret I spoke was a seed of pain. Now it grows into painful truth. I buried my truth to protect them. Now I must protect myself from their silence. Truth is a wound we dress in words. Sometimes bleeding heals the soul. I finally spoke my secret. Now I walk alone through the ruins of love. The secret was a shadow, but the truth is the dawn. Painful, yet hopeful. Their silence after my confession taught me that love sometimes means letting go. I told my family and found freedom tangled with heartbreak's cruel embrace. The secret I kept was a prison. Speaking it was my only escape. I whispered the truth and heard the silence roar louder than their voices. I told the secret. The family I knew vanished, but my soul began to rise. Sometimes the truth hurts more than the secret we hide behind it. I traded years of fear for one moment of truth. The cost was everything. The secret was my shadow. Now the truth is my painful light. I told my secret and felt the earth shift beneath my feet. A new world awaits. The truth I spoke was a wound I bled, and a healing I embrace. I finally told my family. Now I'm learning to live with their quiet distance. The secret I buried was a storm. Telling it brought both destruction and rebirth. I spoke my secret, and the silence that followed spoke louder than any accusation. The truth I told was a broken song, beautiful, painful, impossible to forget. I buried my shame deep, telling it made the earth tremble beneath my feet. Their eyes didn't see me after I revealed the secret, only a stranger's pain. I finally told my family. Now I carry the weight of their invisible wounds. The secret was a shadow inside me. Truth was the dawn that burned it away. I whispered my truth and felt my heart break, then begin to heal. Revealing the secret was a storm, terrifying, cleansing, necessary. I told the secret and lost everything except my own fractured, fragile soul. The secret I carried was a ghost haunting me. Now it haunts them too. I chose pain over silence, the hardest choice to make, the bravest to live. The family I knew crumbled when I spoke, but I stood, broken and alive. I finally told the secret. Freedom was bleeding, raw, and mercilessly honest. Silence was my prison. Speaking the secret was my first step toward escape. I told them my truth. Now the space between us feels endless and cold. The secret's weight crushed me, but silence was a heavier, deadlier burden. I buried my soul beneath secrets. Now I dig to find myself again. I whispered the secret like a prayer, hoping for love, finding silence instead. I finally spoke, and the family I knew fell into dust around me. The secret was a wound. Telling it was a knife cutting through years of pain. I told them everything. The silence that followed was a language I didn't know. My truth broke their world, and in breaking, it began to rebuild mine. The secret I hid was survival. Now I fight for peace in its aftermath. I spoke my secret and watched love dissolve into quiet, endless nights. The family's silence after my confession was a ghost I couldn't escape. I finally told the secret and found both freedom and a new kind of loneliness. My heart screamed truth while my lips whispered secrets buried in darkness. The secret I kept was a shadow, now chased away by the light of truth. My dear, I finally told my family the secret I've buried. Now the silence screams louder than ever. The truth I hid for years shattered their perfect image of us, and I'm still healing from the wreckage. Some secrets buried too deep become graves we carry in our chest, heavy and cold. Revealing the hidden truth felt like breaking my own heart open. But freedom tastes bittersweet. I whispered my pain into the room, and their silence answered louder than their words. The secret's out, but the scars it left still bleed quietly beneath my skin. I carried the weight alone so long. Now their judgment is the new burden I wear. Years of shadows collapsed in one confession. The family I knew changed forever. Sometimes telling the truth is less about freeing yourself and more about surviving the fallout. I laid bare my soul, hoping for light, but found only cold eyes instead. The secret I buried was a wound. Revealing it made the healing painfully real. My family saw the truth, but refused to see the love behind the pain. In exposing the secret, I lost their trust, but found my own voice at last. The silence after my confession felt like 1,000 judgments piercing my skin. I told them everything. Now I'm learning how to live with their ghosts. Sometimes the hardest truth is the one you finally tell yourself aloud. I shattered their illusions to save myself. The price was their love's fragile glow. Secrets are prisons. Speaking freed me, but the walls still cast long shadows. My heart broke twice, once when I hid the secret, again when they rejected it. I finally told my family, and suddenly I was alone in a crowded room. The secret spilled like poison, but I chose pain over silence's slow death. Years of hiding became years of healing after one raw, brutal confession. I was buried beneath the weight of my secret. Now I'm learning how to rise. The family I loved didn't recognize me after I spoke my truth aloud. I traded their smiles for their silence. The price of finally being honest. Truth is a blade. Sometimes you bleed to cut the ties that bind you. I told them my secret and watched their world crumble, and so did mine. Years of silence echoed in one confession. My soul finally screamed free. The secret I hid wasn't shame, it was survival, whispered too long in darkness. Their eyes turned away when I revealed the truth. Love lost in shadows. Speaking my truth was an act of rebellion against fear, silence, and pain. I buried my secret in the garden of my soul. Now I've uprooted it with tears. The secret's weight crushed me, but silence was a heavier chain to bear. I finally spoke, but the family I knew vanished in the echo of my words. Truth doesn't always heal. Sometimes it wounds the ones you love most. I whispered the secret like a prayer, hoping for forgiveness, finding only echoes. The secret I kept was a ghost haunting my heart. Now it haunts theirs too. Revealing my pain was the hardest goodbye to the family I once believed in. I told them to free myself, but they shackled me with silent judgment instead. My secret was my shadow, too long ignored, now exposed in painful light. They never saw the secret's cracks until I shattered the silence with my truth. The truth was a storm. It tore us apart before it could cleanse the soul. I told my family, but I'm still alone in the wreckage of what was. Sometimes love dies quietly, buried beneath secrets no one dares to speak. The secret I carried was a wound. I bled quietly. Now they see the scar. Speaking my truth felt like drowning in tears, but drowning was the only way out. I traded the silence of years for the chaos of truth. Both tore me apart. Their disbelief was a knife cutting deeper than any secret ever could. I finally let the secret breathe, but its air tasted bitter with loss. My family's silence after my confession was louder than any anger they showed. I held my secret like a fragile bird. Now it's flown, but the cage remains. The truth I spoke was a curse and a blessing, freedom wrapped in pain. I told my secret to heal, but all I found was a family fractured and cold. Years of silence built walls. One confession crumbled them into rubble. The secret I buried wasn't shame, it was my soul's quiet plea for mercy. I spoke, and their love turned to ash, but my heart began to breathe. Secrets keep us captive, but truth can shatter the chains, even if painfully. My family's eyes told stories I never wanted to hear after I spoke the truth. I finally told my secret. Now I'm learning how to live with broken trust. Silence is a liar. Speaking the truth is painful, but it births new light. The secret was a wound I hid. Revealing it tore open old scars anew. I told them my secret, and the family I knew dissolved in quiet heartbreak. Truth is a lonely path, but silence is a prison with no escape.